Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So I want to give you some additional news about Matt Gaetz's buddy, who now has Gaetz involved in a potential child sex scandal. This is Joel Greenberg, of course. But here's the deal with Greenberg and why it's so disturbing to know that this guy has been welcomed with open arms by Trump, Roger Stone, Gaetz, the Proud Boys, many others. I mean, this guy was invited to the White House. I don't know if he was invited, but he went there with Gaetz. So Greenberg, as I mentioned previously, won his race in 2016, and he became the tax collector for Seminole County in Florida. He ran on a promise, and you're going to laugh, to enforce a, quote, strong ethical code. So this resonated with voters because the previous tax collector that they had was caught buying and selling tax delinquent properties at a profit. Now they thought that was bad. They should have kept that guy because by comparison, that guy was an upstanding, perfect citizen. Just 1 month after Greenberg took over that office, he started spending like a drunken sailor who somehow got a hold of Jeff Bezos's credit card. First, Greenberg moved his agency out of a rent-free government office into a space that cost $100,000 a year because he said the government building was disgusting. He then hired 19 new workers right off the bat to handle tasks that the agency never actually handled before. And many of these people had taken part in his recent wedding. So these were friends, many of them. He paid them over $500,000. So remember, these weren't jobs that were already in place that they were taking over. He was just spending over $500,000 on salaries to them for no reason, for jobs that didn't need to be done. Then Greenberg announced that his agency employees would be granted the authority to open carry firearms while they were seizing tax delinquent property. Fortunately, and very surprisingly, Trump bribe recipient Pam Bondi put an end to that lunacy. I don't know, she had a moment of clarity apparently. Later that year, after he took office, he turned on the flashing lights of his SUV to pull a woman over. Remember, this is a tax collector. He whipped out and flashed his tax collector badge at her, and he pretended to be a cop while accusing her of speeding. Believe it or not, the state prosecutor determined that that wasn't illegal. Pretending to be a cop, flashing his tax collector badge, and pulling over a woman was not illegal. That's how cray-cray Florida is. They said, oh, well, it was, quote, a purposeful attempt to exert undue power and influence. Oh, well, okay, that's okay then. Oh my God, this state is insane. All sane people need to flee Florida immediately. It's crazy. This state is crazy. So that was December of 2017. The very next month, in January of 2018, Greenberg then tried to pressure an officer who had pulled him over for speeding, and he told the cop that he should extend a, quote, professional courtesy because Greenberg described himself as a, quote, constitutional officer. Then, finally, in April of 2019, a federal investigation was open. So they finally said, hey, let's look into this constitutional officer. They found, as I previously mentioned, that Greenberg went to extraordinary and illegal lengths to discredit a man who was running against him. The man's name is Bryant Butte. He's a teacher, and Greenberg set up a fake Twitter account and pretended to be Butte. He also then created a fake Facebook account and pretended to be another teacher. So this fake educator's account was used to falsely accuse Butte of having sex with a student. Prosecutors, luckily, were able to trace the IP address for both accounts back to Greenberg's house. So they traced both the Twitter and the Facebook account back to his IP address. How ignorant is this guy? They also found Greenberg's DNA and fingerprints on 9 letters that were sent to Butte's employer, falsely accusing him of sexual misconduct. So clearly, Greenberg knows that sex with children is frowned upon and it's illegal. So he can't exactly plead ignorance in his own case. And in addition to this disgusting accusation against this teacher, false accusation, which I detailed the other day, Greenberg is also accused of using his access to the Florida driver's license database to look up information about girls. So girls with whom he's accused of engaging in sugar daddy relationships. In all, I've mentioned this before, Greenberg is facing basically 36 charges, so almost 36 charges, one of which is his theft of old driver's licenses and creation of fake IDs for himself. For what? We don't know yet. But his office was responsible for shredding and disposing of those driver's licenses. Greenberg, however, is reported to have taken some of those IDs out of the bin that were waiting to be shredded, and he inserted his own photograph. So they had somebody else's name, somebody else's date of birth, address, and so forth, but his photo. So why did this guy feel the need to have a bunch of fake IDs? And as I mentioned before, Greenberg violated his bail conditions, so he's been sent to jail. Again, he's been in there since March 3rd. Apparently, what he did to violate his bail was he tried to travel outside of the zone that the court had permitted. He was trying to go to see his estranged wife. So here's the thing. I think this guy serves as a stark warning for the next Trump. And here's what I mean by that and why I really wanted to go into detail about him. It seems that Greenberg saw what his predecessor did when he was the tax collector, right? He saw this guy breaking the rules and he sat back and he went, wow, if it's that easy to use this position to wield power, to make a profit, exploit the system, I could probably do a much better job and not get caught. Because there's a common theme with sociopaths like Greenberg and Trump. They believe that they're invincible. They believe they're smarter than everyone else. And I say sociopath, I'm not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist, but they definitely, Greenberg and Trump, sound like sociopaths. They sound like people who just take what they want, do what they want. They have no regard for anybody else. They just lie as easily as they breathe. At least that's the way it looks. So we should absolutely be aware and concerned that others have been watching for the past 4 years. And they saw how easy it was for Trump to bully his way through everything, right? All you had to do was just refuse to comply with the norms, with standards. All he had to do was say, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not showing my taxes. And I'm going to make money off of my properties. And I'm going to make money off of whatever the hell I want while I'm in here. He committed blatant crimes because he just refused to comply. So there's got to be other sociopaths out there who are now thinking, wow, if it's that easy to use the presidency to wield power, to make massive profits, to exploit the system, I can do it better. I can do it without getting caught. I'm much smarter than Trump. And let's face it, they probably are, because he is really, really ignorant. And so that's why people like Trump and this Greenberg guy need to face incredibly harsh consequences. They need to be made examples of. we need to send a message to the next Greenberg, to the next Trump, that if you try this shit, your life is going to be destroyed. If you break the law and you use your office and your position of power for illegal means, we will take you down. Not only will you be kicked out of office, but you will be locked up for a long, long time. So I'll keep you guys posted. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.